Like, I don't know how to, gatekeeping is actually my toxic trait. Not today. Today I'm opening the gates. It is literally so cold in my room. Okay, hey everyone, it's Sunny. Welcome back to my channel. It's been a really long time. I say that every single recommendation video. But I swear, I have like so many lists compiled and I always put it into my phone. This is like my vault in my notes doc. It's like Pandora's box. I literally have so many lists of like book recommendations and then I just like never have the time to film. Even right now, it's like 11:10 a.m. I have a lab meeting at 12 p.m. So I'm gonna try to do this as quick as possible. Happy spooky season. It's October. I love the fall time. I love cold weather. I'm Canadian. I'm always gonna like cold weather more than hot weather. I feel like everyone is on their like dark academia grind and like I am too. Like I will be on my dark academia grind. But more importantly, I am on my favorite hyper-specific genre of book grind. And that genre is fantasy books with a romance subplot in it. If you guys really know me, romance subplots in books will always be better than romance main plot. You like can't change my mind about that because it's true. I know that you guys all know that it's true. It's not even like a secondary plot. It's like a genuine like subplot. It's not like ACOTAR vibes where like it's a fantasy book but like romance is like a big part of it and it's like one of the main plots. Like no, the romance has to be like a subplot. These books are really hard to find because it's probably not gonna be in like the synopsis of the book or it's like barely mentioned and you like don't know if it's gonna be like a good subplot that actually hits. It's just like in there because that is like what is going to be more marketable towards the audience, but the romance is actually like not that good. I don't know, I feel like 9 out of 10 they're like not a romance that like really hits with me, but then that 1 out of 10 where it actually hits so good becomes like my favorite books of all time. But it's hard because you'll never know unless you actually read that entire book and or in some cases multiple books in that entire book series. So I'm trying to like do all of this a favor and I've like compiled all of my favorite ones in my whole career. These are like hidden gems that I like gatekeep from like the rest of the world, but I will share it with you guys because if you guys have the same book taste as me, like I swear to God that you're gonna love all the romance subplots in these books. I just know that you guys know what I mean when I say that like it's like a subplot. Like it has to be a subplot, like can't be the main plot. Okay, because it's like the subtlety that will really get you. I'm gonna just start. I have a lot of books here. I'm probably not gonna get through all of them. So if you guys want a part 2 to this, then let me know. But yeah, here it is. These are my secrets. The books that I hold so close to my heart and I don't want anyone to touch them. Like, I don't know how to, gatekeeping is actually my toxic trait I've discovered. And my friend has told me that this is my toxic trait. I actually like gatekeep the things that I love most in the world. Not today. Today I'm opening the gates. This is in no particular order. These are all really good. But the first book that I'm gonna mention, I feel like it's such an underrated book series. It's like kind of old, but I have reread this book series so many times and I literally reread this like annually. I'm not even joking. And I always reread it and I skip to just like the romance subplot parts, which is like maybe like 5 scenes like total, which is how you know that it's so good. And that book series is The False Prince. I feel like if you're a newcomer to like fantasy books, this is probably a good one to start out with because it's like for a younger audience and like the fantasy world is like not complicated at all. It's like basic kingdom politics. Like there's just a kingdom. Like I feel like it's not even like there's no magic or anything like that in it that makes like the world confusing. It just is in a kingdom. And the main plot of this book is that this man is gathering all of these orphans who he could possibly pass as like the lost prince to this kingdom. Same hair color because the prince went missing when he was a kid. So we follow one of the boys. His name is Sage. Him and like some other boys are like brought to like, this man's house and they're like being trained. Only one of them gets to be the false prince. The people who aren't chosen are gonna be killed. And so that's the main plot. Let me talk about the romance subplot in this that came out of nowhere and it's nowhere in the description. It's so good. It's so sweet. There's actually like 5 or 6 scenes total in this book, but every single scene is just gold. I love it so much. I would commit arson. I would give my left arm and sell out all of my roommates to see this book like adapted into like a show or a movie or something. Simply because I want to see the romance like on screen so badly. Like they have such good chemistry. I can't even explain it. Me in middle school reading this, like it was blowing my mind. The romance is between him and one of like the servant girls that are in the estate, Imogen. Oh my gosh, I was actually so dumb and limited as a kid because I was fully looking at her name. Like I've never seen that name before and in my head I was like pronouncing it Imogen for years. She's like really beautiful, which means that like people treat her really terribly. Catches Sage's attention at dinner. Oh my gosh, that dinner scene. I love that dinner scene so much. It's like classic, like he's eating dinner and then like servants come and they're serving the food and he's like, who is that? And it's like that classic trope of like he wants to give like extra attention to this girl and she keeps being like, please don't do that, then it's gonna bring attention to me. And there's like a lot of tension because of that and the tension is so good. It is literally so good. This has one of my favorite tropes ever, which is like one of them won't speak and then like finally when they do speak it's like amazing relationship development and like just the best thing ever and like the biggest milestone, like you know that trope. And then the first time that she does speak he's like, oh, so you can speak. You know that trope? Why does that trope hit so much? I literally love that trope so much. This is like the second out of like the 6 scenes that they get in this book. It's like attending to the wound. It's like the first time that they can be alone. Like, why does that trope hit so good? Like, can someone explain that to me? Like, I need one of those TikTok therapists to like come like tell me like what this trope says about my inner psyche, because like what's up with that? Like, when I say reread, I really do mean just their scene. That was The False Prince. I love that book so much. Jennifer A. Nielsen. I forget if I said the author. Next book series. Most of these are like book series, by the way, because I think most fantasy books are book series, and it's like the longer the book series, like the longer the slow burn, the payoff is like way better. Okay, but the next book, The Diviners by Libra Bray, also that's like kind of perfect for spooky season because this book's like fantasy, but it's like a little bit mystery, thriller, horror-ish. It like has ghosts and stuff in it. But our main character is a girl named Evie, and it takes place in like the roaring 20s. Oh my gosh, I'm in my roaring 20s. In New York City, they're trying to like solve a mystery, like a series of murders that are happening. That's the main plot. The romance subplot in this, it's so good to me. We have a big group of people, a whole entire friend group, right? And you get chapters in all their perspectives. I'm not gonna get into it all right now, but like the only people that you need to think about is Evie, and I guess a little bit this guy named 𝐤𝐸𝐬, and then Sam. The tea here is that there is first a romance between her and 𝐤𝐸𝐬, but don't be fooled because that one is like, that's not the tea. The tea is between Evie and Sam. And when I tell you, I feel like I've referenced this book all the time as like one of my favorite meet cutes ever, because it's a pickpocketing meet cute, and if you know, pickpocketing meet cute is like my favorite meet cute. Oh my gosh, I love like a con character, a con man character, like a street rat, con man, pocketer. They end up all meeting and becoming friends. In the first, I would say in the first book, you see like their friendship develop. It's like a red herring because they're like building up a romance between her and 𝐤𝐸𝐬, which is like this other guy. He's also very, very sweet, but like I just knew from the very beginning. After that meet cute, I just knew that there's, you know what I mean? The second book is where all the payoff happens. Sam and Evie start having like their own little plot line on the side where they're doing just like this side investigation. Doesn't have anything to do with like the main plot, but it's like they actually become close and start like opening up and sharing things with each other and like keeping each other's secrets and stuff. And that's how they end up like really developing their relationship. And then you can see both of them kind of develop feelings for each other. And this is the only book where I didn't hate the fake dating. There's like a little bit of fake dating that happens in this book. Obviously, I didn't love it because I don't love fake dating. Their dynamic together is very much like bantery, enemy. They get on each other's nerves, like they irritate each other, but they really care about each other and they're really good friends. And then you see that develop into something more in the second book. And like just that relationship development, I just loved so much because they got off on the wrong foot. They kind of are salty towards each other, but then they like become friends, end up becoming involved in each other's secrets, and they have like, they're like scheming together, and that's how they end up like developing feelings for each other. Like I just love that arc so much, and I just love it. They're both so charming. They just get along so well. Okay, next. Okay, I was gonna put this one as like the first book recommendation, but I just knew that everyone was gonna page me. I'm always putting this book in all my book recommendations. You guys are so real for that. I can't not talk about this book. Obviously, it's The Six of Crows duology. This is one of my favorite books of all time. I feel like I haven't read like a book that had done this trope, like a fantasy book with a romance subplot. Literally not seen it done like as well as it has in this book series. This is also following like a group of people, and you follow all their perspectives. Two of the main characters, 𝐸𝐻 and Inej, all of them are part of a street gang, by the way. They're trying to pull off a heist. That's like the main plot of this book. They have like a friends to lover type thing, but it's so slow and really, really subtle, which is why I think I loved it so much. Like, it's like you really need to work for all the moments. Every single time you like start getting one, you're like, oh my god, everyone needs to shut the hell up right now because they're having a moment right now. And just like the slow build up to it is so good. Definitely like I'm closed off to everyone in the world but you trope. Both of them have extreme major trauma from like their childhood that they both need healing from, and like that is what keeps them apart, which makes so much sense to me. And you see both of them like healing, like they don't need the other person to like heal for them, you know what I mean? I don't know, I feel like they're the only people in the world who like know each other as well as they do, but both of them are very, very closed off anyway. And you just see them like opening up, and it's just so rewarding to like, especially from 𝐸𝐻's point of view, it's so rewarding to just see him like admit to himself that he's like come to rely on this girl and like, you know, cares about her a lot, because he's like in denial for like most of this book series. I can't explain it, like the payoff is just so good. Like I've never felt payoff like that good before. I can't. You can watch any of my other videos and you will like just know what I feel about this book. It's just the best that I've ever seen it done before. It's so good. Everyone needs to go read it right now. It's okay if you are just thrown into the fantasy world and like don't understand what's happening, because that was me. That was me. All of these names I didn't know how to pronounce, all these places that I didn't know where they were, all these characters I didn't know who they were. It did not matter one bit. I like read this book in one sitting when I was in high school. I started at 10 p.m. and I ended at 3 a.m. The next book that I'm gonna recommend, The Last Magician by Lisa Maxwell. I feel like I have heard not one single person talk about this book, so I'm gonna talk about it. I actually really like this book because it gave me like, I don't know, it gave me like a sense of nostalgia for like books that were published in like the 2010s. So I was reading it, I was getting really nostalgic and it was so fun. This is a time travel book. We follow our main character. She's a girl named Esta. So she's like sent to like go back in time in order to steal an artifact that the magician has stolen in the past. So we follow her point of view, and then we follow the magician. The magician is a man named Hart Darian. This man is so charming, oh my god. But that's the main plot, is that she is trying to like steal this artifact and stop the magician, but she doesn't know who the magician is, and she doesn't know that it's him because they meet and become friends, obviously. This book is really thick too, by the way. The romance subplot is like really subtle. This is part of a book series, so I imagine that it's going to like develop even more in the later books, but I've only read the first one. I do want to continue the series though, because I think Esta and Hart's like relationship was just so fun to read about. You get little hints of like a potential romance subplot like near the very end of the book, which is why I was like, I'm hooked. Like, I love it when books do that. Barely anything happens romantically in the first book, but you just get hints of it like at the very end, because the first book is just dedicated to like building the characters, establishing the plot, establishing the world, building their relationship off of like friendship and like companionship first. I don't like it when romance is like introduced right when they first meet. That's like a red flag for me. I'm like, oh, this is not gonna be one of those. Okay, next is A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab. Everybody and their mother had told me to read this because I always say I love a fantasy book with a slow burn romance subplot. Every single person always says if you want to read that, then you have to read the series, and I was always just putting it off because I didn't know how much I jive with V.E. Schwab, but then I read it and oh my gosh, all of you guys were right and I was wrong. I will literally listen to you guys for the rest of my life. I will never trust me for the rest of my life because this book series does it so well. This is an adult fantasy book trilogy. I still need to read the last one. I read the first two. The first book was literally a 5-star read for me. I loved it so much. There's these different worlds and each of them have like a different aesthetic and like a different extent of like magic in them. We have Grey London, which is pretty much just like our world. Red London, which has so much magic in it. Like magic is just really normal. And then we have White London, which used to have magic, but then there was just something that wreaked havoc onto White London and now it's like just sucked dry out of everything. And then we have Black London, which is like forbidden. No one's allowed to go there. And the only people who can like travel between these worlds are magicians, I think they're called. And so we follow a magician named Kel, and he is a messenger, but he also smuggles things. When he's in Grey London, he meets a girl named Lila. I follow her perspective too. It's like dual perspective. This book has a fat plot in the center of it too. There's like, it's so much politics, but the romance subplot in this book was done so well. Oh my gosh, it's like the same like meet cute, a pickpocketing type situation. Lila is a thief and she pickpockets Kel. They keep meeting like circumstantially a couple of times before they like establish like a relationship and partnership. Throughout the book, you just get like little moments. They're just really sparse throughout the book, but it makes it like so rewarding every single time it happens. And then by the end of the book, you can like really see that their relationship has developed a lot. Oh my gosh, there's literally 3 more books that I want to talk about. This always happens. I always talk so much in like the beginning books that I recommend, and then I leave like no room at the end for like the books that I want to recommend, and then I always have to rush through. But the next book I want to talk about is Queen of the Tearling by Erika Johansson. This is another like 5-star fantasy series that I started this year. It's also old and I'm like late to the bandwagon, but like why was I late to the bandwagon? This book series is so good. It's another classic like kingdom. The politics in this kingdom is like so messed up and so corrupt and like such a mess. Follow like the queen, the new queen of the kingdom. Her name's Kelsey, and she has to go and fix the mess. The mess is so big. It's so catastrophic, astronomical, disastrous, and we're following her having to fix that obviously, and that's like the main part of this book, and that part of this book is so good within itself. Like it's just so good. The romance subplot in this book, oh my gosh, it's like subplot, but it was like really enjoyable. I was like, oh, this is a really fun treat. And it's between her and one of the people in her guard. Like she has a whole guard behind her because she's in so much danger all the time. Everyone's trying to kill her. They choose this guard named Penn. He's obviously around her age, which means that he's obviously gonna be like a love interest. He's pointed to be like her, I don't know what it's called, like a close guard, like someone who's literally gonna be like with her 24/7, like moves into her room, is always beside her like everywhere that she goes. Like one guard who is just always gonna be with her, make sure that nothing happens to her. You get like really like small interactions between them, but then like all of it builds up to like she really trusts him by the end of that book, and you can really tell. And they have like such good conversations like when they're just by themselves in the room together, and it's like really based off of trust and friendship. Barely anything romantic happens. It's really not like what your typical romance subplot is like. Very natural. I love both the characters. I love Kelsey. I love Penn too. I picture Penn as Leo Howard. I picture Kelsey as I forget what the actress name is, but she's the main actress in Legacies, and I think that I pictured the two of them together because they were on the show together and they have really good chemistry in the show. Oh my gosh, gosh, okay, I have to go to my lab meeting. I have many more books on this list, so definitely tell me if you would like a part 2. And like this season, I'm just so excited. Like I'm really excited to like go back to my roots, which is like fantasy books with a romance subplot. I literally ate that up when I was in middle school. It brings me so much peace and like nostalgia, and I really need that in my life. It's just so perfect for this time of the year. So anyway, I hope video was helpful in some way. Comment down below your recommendations for this like specific genre of books, because it's like literally my favorite thing ever. Subscribe down below if you haven't already. Follow me on all my socials. They're all linked in the description. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!